When Cherry Blossoms Whisper. Volume 1, The First Petal. Chapter 12, Blossom Promises. The aftermath of the festival had left everyone exhausted, but it also created a space where things between Haruto and Sakura felt different. There was a connection there now, a quiet understanding that hadn't existed before. They were no longer just classmates, something else was stirring between them. It was on the final day of school before the break, when the cherry blossoms were in full bloom, that Haruto found himself walking with Sakura through the school courtyard. The light breeze carried the scent of the blossoms and everything felt unusually serene, almost too perfect. Sakura walked a little ahead of him, her hands tucked into the pockets of her jacket. She wasn't saying much, but that was nothing new. What was new, however, was the way her presence seemed to weigh on him in a way he couldn't quite place. She had been different lately, more open with her thoughts, especially during their late-night conversations under the stars after the DIY festival. Haruto couldn't help but glance at her. She was staring at the cherry blossoms, her expression unreadable. He took a deep breath. "Sakura, about the festival." "You don't have to thank me," she interrupted, her voice a little too quick, a little too practiced. "It was a group effort. Everyone did their part." He hesitated, unsure of how to phrase what he wanted to say. He had always been good at observing, but now there was a shift inside him, something pulling at him to be honest. To open up. But before he could gather his words, they arrived beneath the largest cherry tree on the school grounds. Its branches hung low, heavy with blossoms, almost like it was waiting for them. Sakura stopped, looking up at the tree, her expression softening. "I used to come here with my father," she said, her voice low as if she were speaking to herself. "When I was little, he'd bring me here to watch the blossoms fall. He always said the petals were like memories, fragile, fleeting." Haruto's heart twisted at the sudden shift in her tone. The air around them felt thicker, laden with the weight of her unspoken past. He took a cautious step closer. "Sakura, if you ever she cut herself off, her gaze shifting quickly away from him. "I should go." Haruto reached out instinctively, his fingers brushing against her sleeve, stopping her. "Wait, Sakura, what's wrong?" She stiffened, her back to him now. "I can't. I'm not ready to talk about it yet." Haruto swallowed, his mind racing. Was she talking about her father? Her past? The pain that had always lingered beneath her composed exterior? "I'm sorry," he said softly, feeling the weight of her words. He didn't want to push her, but the longing to understand her, to really understand her, was growing. Sakura was silent for a long moment, her fingers lightly tracing the tree's bark. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Sometimes I feel like the blossoms are the only thing that will ever be constant. Everything else keeps changing." Haruto's heart ached. He couldn't find the words to respond. Instead, he simply nodded, not wanting to disturb the fragile silence between them. A soft breeze stirred the petals and they began to fall, scattering in the air like confetti. Sakura looked up at the sky, her eyes bright despite the sadness behind them. "Thank you," she said, her voice quiet but sincere. "For being here. For helping, all of this. You've been more than I expected." Haruto's breath caught in his throat, but before he could speak, she turned and walked away, her figure slowly disappearing into the sea of cherry blossoms. He watched her go, his chest tight with both a sense of loss and hope. As the last of the cherry blossoms drifted down around him, Haruto stood alone beneath the tree. Sakura's words still lingered in the air, a quiet promise that she wasn't ready to make just yet. But that didn't mean it was over. Something was shifting between them, something he couldn't quite define. And as the summer break began, he knew one thing for sure: it wasn't going to be easy. There were things about Sakura's past, about her heart, that she wasn't ready to share yet. And as much as he wanted to help, he couldn't push her. But the summer was coming, and with it, new challenges, new opportunities, and maybe even new feelings. Thanks for watching our video. If you find this video interesting, then please subscribe our YouTube channel. If you're watching this video from TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, then follow our page for more contents like this. So guys, this chapter concludes Volume 01. The next volume will be released in April 22nd. So tighten your seatbelts for more amazing chapters.